What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. We're just going to go ahead and jump right into it today. So if you would like the video here at the beginning and subscribe if you are not subscribed, let's go ahead and get it started. And hey, what's going on? My name is Ratboy. Let's get into it.
Lights on. Lights are on and stable, Captain. Whoa! Let's see some action. Dave? Yeah? Calm down. Right. Sorry.
Starting with a medium close-up on, and then widening out to an establishing shot. Genius.
And
No, but this is my favorite act of microfeminism. So I teach a class at a university, and the other day I'm walking on campus going back to my car after class. So I'm on the sidewalk, on the correct side of the sidewalk, only taking up my one little lane, and I'm walking to the car. And sure enough, there's a group of 8 young men walking towards me, taking up the entire sidewalk. None of them are on their phones. They're talking to each other, but they're all looking forward. And they just keep walking forward. Nobody moves over. They are taking up the entire sidewalk. And I just kept walking in my lane, and I literally walked into one of them. Anyways, I'm a recovering people pleaser, and in my early 20s, I met with a licensed counselor. Anyway, she's the one who told me to pay attention when I'm walking on sidewalks because men will rarely yield to women if they're walking in a group and walking opposite directions. They'll just expect you to move out of the way. And so the microfeminist thing to do is to just stay in your lane and let them run into you. And don't apologize because they're not following the rules of the sidewalk. In the 8-ish years since I've gotten that advice, it is still shocking to me how often this happens. And I'm sure there will be people in my comments who are like, oh no, it's just you. But if you're a woman, let me know if you've experienced this before too.
Skip a little bit, but I'm gonna give you this. Somebody told me one time I don't have to preach it all at the same time. I could cut it like Subway and give you a 6-inch in the morning and a 6-inch at night. That's not my style. I'm gonna shove this entire foot long down your throat.
Here's the issue with this video, and we're going to take it point by point because one thing, if you don't know what she's talking about, this is called micro female isms. And they're basically these little actions that women constantly think about and constantly do to, I guess, subconsciously insert femalism into men's brains. And I don't think she understands how men's brains work, but there's plenty of videos. Just search for that and you'll see all you need to see. But I wanted to point out something in this video. She mentions the sidewalk rule, or the rules of the sidewalk. What are the rules of the sidewalk again? Because in my opinion, if there's a group of people walking down the sidewalk and you are just one person walking on the sidewalk toward that other group of people, you just want them all to just like jump out of the way for you. These are busy men trying to get to where they're going. They would much rather bump into you and push you out the way than move out the way. That's kind of where this is going. And the other, because she's using rationality here, she's a very rational person. There's also the fact that she would rather bump into these dudes, random men, whoever, and could potentially get injured if she's not careful. These could be athletes. I mean, I don't know what types of men these are, but you're bumping into them. I mean, something could happen. You could fall, twist your ankle. I don't know. And if anything like that were to happen, the first thing she would do is blame others, blame anyone around her instead of taking the accountability for herself. He's the one who decided to bump into these guys. Now, I will say that, yes, absolutely. If there's a group of people walking down the sidewalk, you should always be aware of your surroundings. Always try not to bump into somebody. But you are walking towards a group of men and you're one woman. Those men might be paying attention to other things. They are busy men. They are preoccupied with life, with work, with possibly juggling multiple things at one time. And you're just going out, getting a Starbucks coffee and going to get your nails done. You got nothing going on. So maybe you could just step out the way. I don't know. Or you can keep bumping into them because they don't care. You're not doing anything is what I'm This is solving nothing. All you're doing is just running into people and expecting all these multiple random encounters to make sense in the grand picture, and it's not. Like, nothing's going to happen. This is going to be a pattern you'll see where they're trying to teach men lessons in female isms, and it's not working. It'll never work because men do not think that way. It's a minor inconvenience, and in a lot of cases it's just not even it's unnoticeable for a lot of men because men do not think that way. They don't care. a lot of the time. But we'll get into that. That is another clip I have later on. But let's watch this next one.
Anyway, that's my favorite form of microfeminism. What's yours? You know, men will walk into a room of like gendered persons and address them collectively as guys, or if there's just like one woman in the room, they'll be like, "Hey guys," and Emily, which is somehow worse. And if you ever ask them about that, they'll be like, "Oh, guy is a gender-neutral term." So I've decided that girly is also a gender-neutral term, and it is so much fun walking to a room of all men or predominantly men and being like, "Hey, what's up, girlies?" Or you can use it for just one man. For example, you can ask a guy, "Oh, are you more of a red or a white wine girly?" It's just fun, makes people think a little. Highly recommend.
Ooh, yeah. I'm gonna have to go ahead and sort of disagree with you there.
I don't think this really does anything. And they're not going to be... Okay, honestly, this doesn't offend me at all. I don't know if this would offend anybody else. I'm not really offended by this. It's actually kind of funny. I would laugh. But look, a sense of humor, and here's the thing. There's a lot of times where you really don't have sense of humor. This is good to see. This is great. I like this. This is good. It's very non-aggressive too, which is always good. You have the aggressive and then you have the non-aggressive, which is, in case you didn't notice, running into random men on the sidewalk is kind of aggressive. But I mean, that's what you're going for. That's what you got to do. But I wanted to throw this one in here because this is very, to me, this is good. I like this. This is fun. It's funny. It's good. No issues there. Now this next one, and I did bring up earlier about how this is constantly thought about by a large majority of these types of people. They will think about these micro femalisms, and this is all they'll think about, and they will inject it into their everyday life. At any point they can inject it in there, and it's constantly just a part of their life. They're always thinking about it, and that's what this next clip is.
Here's a list of things I do that are microfeminisms. I feel like probably a lot of you don't know that I'm an attorney during the day, so that's my 9 to 5. And I have a lot of little tiny things that I do that are microfeminism like acts. If you don't know what that is, long story short, instead of just standing up, burning your bra and screaming at people, little acts that make men off, and it's my favorite thing to do. Top of the list is if somebody says I have to talk to the board, or I have to talk to the chairperson of the board, or I have to talk to the CEO or CFO or whoever, I will say, let me know what she says. Always she. Like, default is she or her instead of he or him. Obviously, unless I know the person and I know that it's a man, I don't go out of my way to be wrong. This is an easy and obvious one, but saying MS instead of MISS or MRS, because MS period just, it doesn't mean you're married or unmarried. It means that you just like don't know or don't care as your prefix. I know some people will say Miss and Mr. and then like their names, but I don't go that far out of my way. But I will, if I'm saying first names, like I'm saying Jane and John, I'll say Jane first instead of saying John first. If I'm on an email with a bunch of people who do not outrank each other, obviously this is like if there's not a secretary, not a assistant, anything like that, and someone has to send like a calendar invite or a Zoom invite or something like that, I will ask the men in the group to send it, or a specific man in the group, like, "Hey John, do you mind sending that?" If a woman says something in an email, do some research and they have an opinion on something and I think it's right, but I think more needs to get added, I will say, I think Jessica's 100% right. This is correct. I just want to add something like that. Like I'll affirm and then continue. But like if a man says it, I'll just say, I want to add, and I'll just go into whatever I'm going to add. And I think that part is just important because it's important to like meant, especially for women, to like boost confidence and just say like, hey, call out to everyone else like, hey, they're right. Anyway, I would love to know forms of microfeminism that you implement in your workplace.
Hi, I'm Jenny Lewis. And I'm Danny Pintaro. So you use crack or you're thinking about trying it. First of all, I think you better listen to what Danny has to say. Crack has not done anything positive for anyone that has tried it.
I got something to say about this clip, and this is my second time watching it. So the first thing I noticed is at the very beginning she said that all these things she's doing will upset men, and I gotta admit one more thing, and I would never even notice any of these things she's doing. I wouldn't even notice any of them. As she was explaining them the first time, I was like, wait a minute, why would I just wouldn't even notice? It wouldn't even cross my mind about anything she's doing. But maybe that's just me. And then I do have these thoughts. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it. But honestly, I think a lot of guys just don't care. It's just not like these microaggression things you're doing, like, just doesn't affect anyone. It doesn't affect the people you want it to affect, but you're getting a kick out of it. And if it's making your life better somehow, always thinking about this kind of stuff, I say go for it. I don't inherently like any of this, anything that's going on. I do disagree with, in my opinion, I would say that if you're running into random men on sidewalks, I would 100% tell you not to do that. You maybe not run into random men, you could possibly hurt yourself. Just be safe. I mean, 100% just keep yourself safe and just try not to up into the wrong people. Everybody's different, and somebody might do something that you wouldn't agree with right away. So that's just my only opinion about that. And that's merely a safety thing. I don't know how that has to do with whatever she's talking about, but that's just a safety thing for me. But everything else, there's really no, in my opinion, I don't even see why none of this stuff is anything that I would even notice in any sort of real way, especially to the point to where I would get upset. But let me know what you guys think. That's going to be the end of today's video. Like the video if you liked it, comment if you have something to say, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and I'll catch you guys later. Rat Boy out.